management is a 24/7 job, right? It doesn't really clock in and clock out. When you're at a party, when you're whatever, when you're out later this evening, whatever you do as a manager, your behavior is always, someone is looking at it and someone is making that determination. Am I buying in or am I checking out? So how many of you guys have seen this presentation before? Okay, a few of you have seen it before. It's an interesting presentation because I get a lot of feedback that the presentation means something at different stages of your career. So if you've seen it before, please pay attention. If you haven't seen it before, great. This is a fun one for us. And let's even take a step back about our first ever shared services conferences. Like, I feel like we're going to work every day and we're swinging the axe. And I love these gatherings because we take time to sharpen the axe and we take time to really improve on our skill as managers and business people. And be better colleagues. So does anyone who hasn't seen this presentation before know what this is? The Peter Principle? All right, Kai is smiling. He's seen it before probably, but.
It's the propensity for us to promote people until they fail.
That's actually exactly right, because what the Peter Principle is saying is when you're an assistant, or how a career typically goes, you're assistant project manager, you get promoted, you become a project manager, you do well at that job, you become a senior project manager, you do well, you become a department manager, something along those paths. And what the Peter Principle is the tendency in life to get promoted to your own level of incompetence. So you keep getting promoted and keep getting promoted, and then you stop getting promoted because you're no longer good at your job. Because the things that made you good when you started, what got you, I saw somebody say this earlier, like what got you to one progression will not get you to the next progression, right? So how do we fight, and this is what we're doing right now, how do we fight the Peter Principle is really what this presentation is about, is to just be continually learning and to be constantly realizing that this is a natural tendency, is the tendency to get promoted to where you stagnate. There's actually no wrong answers to this question, but I'm curious though. What do people think is a good manager, or characteristics of a good manager? Empathy, that's a great one. Respect, yeah, be respected. To communicate, all good answers, yes. So there's no wrong answers to this. There's no wrong answers to this. It's sort of in the eye of the beholder. But if I look at good managers, and I don't want you guys to make a bunch of mistakes, but I've seen managers make a bunch of mistakes in doing this for 33 years. But the most characteristic, and the one will get you past most any mistake, is if you have a personal invested interest in your people and getting them to the next level. So if you really want your people to succeed, you can't fake it. It's not something you can phone in. Your people will know, right? So you have to look at your job. I mean, it's kind of funny, like how many people are a manager? Right? So this is like a huge thing. Maybe it's not quite as huge as being a parent, but you like hold people's careers in your hands. And how you conduct yourself as a manager is going to determine their level of success many, many times. Right? So it's a very serious thing. And if you want to do a good job, you're a lot of times people are player coaches here. So you want to do a good job at the function of what your job is, but you also want to do a good job caring about your people and trying to get them to the next level.
Yeah, it is actually an awesome responsibility to have somebody's career in your hands. And if you do not feel that that's something that if you're dealing with somebody or they have a problem and it's constantly frustrating to you, you probably have to take a step back and think about, is this really the best thing for me? Because anybody who is a leader, you need to be authentic, and you, like as Phil was saying, you really need to care about your employees and really understand how they operate, get to learn them, and vice versa, and develop a level of trust so you can be able to have that long-lasting relationship and impact on your people in order for them to be able to give you honest feedback, in order for them to be able to want to move up at this company. I don't know if I'm going to take the thunder later, but there's a saying that says you don't really quit your job, you quit your boss. And I think that that's something that you guys really have to understand, that you're empowered and you guys have the control over how your people view this company. You are the representation of the company to each and every one of your employees.
Another thing is it's not really limited just to the people that report to you. I mean, you really do have to care about all the people in the organization to ensure that the organization continues to be successful.
All right, so how do you do this, right? Like, let's say that you're a manager, and how do you do this? The truth is, I should be able to go around to this room and pick any person and say, what do you have to accomplish to get to the next level? Now, in reality, I'm not going to do that. It would take a lot of time, and probably a lot of you wouldn't have great answers. But I'm hoping what this talk does is get you to you can. This works both ways, right? Both if you're a manager and your people don't know what their success is, then talk to them. And if you're a person, there's nothing wrong with you talking to your man. If you're a subordinate, there's nothing with you talking to your manager and saying, "I don't really know what I have to do to get to my next level. Let's talk about it." Right? So a good definition of success is progression, and having a mutually planned agreement for what success is. And the funny thing about success is it's not the same for every person. You know, a lot of people think salespeople are motivated simply by commission or financial rewards. It's not really true, right? Like, people are motivated by different things. And what your job as a manager is to figure out what motivates your folks. So here's a couple of examples. One might be I want to get a decent sized raise at raise time. Another one might be I want to increase my sphere of influence in the organization and become a manager of more people and handling more complex or higher level or other other functions internally. Some people might just want the technical people in this room. Maybe they want to go to a special training and learn a new programming language or something like that. Like special knowledge and skills, right? That some people are really motivated by that. And then lastly, the intangibles. Some people like recognition or the corner office or employee of the month or whatever. But your job as a manager is to sort of decode your people and try to figure out what motivates them. Okay, so has anybody had the experience of having somebody quit by surprise? How many people have had somebody quit by surprise? Leave your hand up. Wow, I would think almost every hand would stay up, but that's good that some of you haven't. People think it's okay in life to quit a large corporation with no notice whatsoever, make their plans, interview outside, right? And so what you want to do, I think, as a manager is set the tone for open communication with your people. So there's no better time to do this than kind of on the first day. So what worked for me, especially when I was managing a lot of younger people, is to tell them, hey, I'm not going to come in and fire you by surprise. You're going to know 100 times that I think that there's something wrong with your performance. Before I fire you, I'm just not going to come in and do it. And by the same token, I don't want you to come in and quit on me without giving me a chance and TransPerfect a chance to solve the problem, right? So nothing works all the time in management, but you want to set the tone for open communication with your team and set the tone for some symmetry, right? So this is something that I've used. Maybe people, can have their own culture, their own style and managerial style. But this is a very good, I think, concept to have. Is I'm not going to surprise you, and I don't want you to surprise me. I'm going to give you constant feedback, and I'm not going to come in with HR and fire you. I'm going to make sure that you understand that I'm not happy.